Welcome back to Winning Law. I'm attorney David Nguyen with offices in Houston, Texas. And today we're going to be discussing a transfer on death deed, otherwise known as a TODD. What a TODD allows individuals in Texas to do is designate who will receive their property when they pass away. And this is even if they don't have a will in place. There are many uses for a TODD. So if a person, all they own is, let's say for example, they don't have a lot of money in the bank, they don't have many personal belongings, and all they really have is a house, a condo, or a townhome in their name, the government will allow them to draft a TODD, which will allow them to automatically give their property away to someone that they want to in the event that they pass away. And this can be a nonprofit organization, it could be a person, it could be several people. So there are very many uses for a TODD. So there are three main reasons why I like the transfer on death deed, which is available for people that live in Texas. The first one is ease of use. So if you draft a transfer on death deed and you file it, later on, if you change your mind while you're still living, you're free to sell the property. Nothing prevents you from selling the property while you're still alive, and you don't have to do anything with the original transfer on death deed. You can just leave it there. If you no longer own it, obviously you can't give it away upon your passing. So that's the first real benefit of having a transfer on death deed. The second major benefit is that the property only passes to the person that you designate upon your passing or when you are no longer living. So while you're still living, the property is still yours, you still own it, and again, it only transfers to the other person upon your passing. The final benefit of having a transfer on death deed is that it trumps a will. This means that if you already have a will and later on you acquire some separate real property and you want to give this property to someone else that you didn't list as a beneficiary in your will, it trumps whatever is written in a will. So if they had to look at a transfer on death deed and a will, the courts will usually give the property to whoever's listed on the transfer on death deed. So again, these are the three main reasons why a transfer on death deed is so useful if you live in Texas. So just to summarize what we spoke about today, a transfer on death deed only allows you to transfer your real property. This means your home, a condo, a townhome, maybe a commercial property that you own. It will not let you transfer personal properties. So again, if you have a lot of personal property, you have a lot of money in the bank, maybe the transfer on death deed is not the best tool for you to use. However, if all you have is your house that's worth any money, this is a good tool to use if you don't want to go into the expense of having a full-blown will drafted. A transfer on death deed is also useful if you're traveling abroad and you don't have time for a will, because a will requires two witnesses to be present and it requires a notary to be present and you just don't have the time. A transfer on death deed can be very useful. This way, in case anything happens to you, you don't have to worry about your loved ones going through a long probate process to obtain your real property in order to sell it or to make any payments on it. My final tip about transfer on death deeds is try not to do it yourself. Make sure you go to an attorney that knows what he or she is doing. Even though the form is a lot simpler than a general will, it requires that certain things be correct, like where you file it, how you describe the property. There's a legal description, there's a general description, and you want to make sure that the beneficiaries are listed out and exactly what percentage of the property they will receive. If you file it incorrectly, the problem is that when you submit it with the courthouse, they're not going to tell you whether or not it's done correctly or incorrectly. The only time that you find out is if you pass away and your loved ones try to receive the properties. When they try to receive the real property, they're going to be told that unfortunately the document was not done correctly and it's invalid. And that's the last thing that you want to do. So make sure that if you're considering a transfer on death deed, you try not to do it yourself and you try not to hire a low-cost attorney because they may not know exactly how to do it and they may do it incorrectly. And in the end, your loved ones are stuck with nothing and they have to go through a long probate process to receive your property. Thank you for watching Winning Law. I'm attorney David Nguyen, and we hope that we have made the law easier to understand.
At David Nguyen's Law Office, we We are here to help you. We bring families together through immigration. And on the other hand, we help you find solutions. All your legal needs in the hands of people who care, who are there for you. We'll take care of your loved ones at the law office of David Nguyen.